All right, I wanted to do a test that a lot of people have asked me about, and I wanted to do it in kind of real time, whatever you want to say, and show you exactly what goes on. And it's on the sous vide function of the new Ninja one lid or Smartlid or whatever you want to call it. The one that only has one lid that you can do pressure, air frying and all from one device with one lid. Now, I did get some kind of weird results in the beginning, but I haven't tried it. So we're going to try it tonight and see just exactly how it does. As you can see, it opens up at sear saute, so we're going to take it down to sous vide. I will say this water is straight out of my tap, and what I always shoot for is 130. In fact, it's already there. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to cook it as soon as it comes up to temp. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to vacuum seal these, let them sit out for a little while. I'm not in a hurry. What I want to do is see how long it takes to come up to temperature by using this right here. And then we'll put it in and we'll be tracking the temp to see how it does. So all my normal things I do with a sous vide test. Right now, I've got it set to sous vide 130. I'm going to go ahead and put it on 6 hours. I don't want it turning off. That's the only reason. I'm going to hit start, stop right there and start right here. Again, 63 degrees. I'm going to get these two of these vacuum sealed and see how this does. I'll be back. Okay, so it caught me off guard. I was in there vacuum sealing these steaks, and in 5 minutes, it says add food. I can't believe that. I didn't show the level a while ago, but I will now. In fact, you may can see it, and I am using a lid, but I'm going to show you right there. That's about 4.5 liters right here. But let me tell you, I know very well. I would be blown away if this is at 130. So let me make sure my camera's where it needs to be. Let's see what it's at. Well, 86 degrees. So I don't understand that, other than maybe it's saying you should add the food now and then let it come up to temp. You know, that would add, to me, that would add a lot of time to it, because you got to let it get to 130 before you really should start your timer. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I have this one vacuum sealed, I'm going to wait on this one, but I'm going to drop this one in right now. That way we can track this water temp, because it told me to add the food. Maybe we just do one steak tonight. It's kind of making me second guess some things. And again, it was 83. You can see it's climbing in a hurry. Don't get me wrong, but to keep to what it asked for, that's what we're going to do. And I hope this is not already too confusing. By the way, these are USDA Prime beef tenderloins from Costco. And like I said, I'll probably go ahead and vacuum seal these, but I'm going to kind of wait on that one to see what happens here. But all right, you can see we're coming up on 15 minutes. I wanted to show you where it's at. Again, the steak is in there. And let's see what we are at temp. Oh, 110. And, you know, I'm sure that steak dropped the temp of the water a little bit. Not that much, but 110 degrees, pretty much uniform on both sides of that steak. I guess I'll let you see in there, but it's obvious. It looks just like you might expect, but that's what it looks like. So we're waiting on 20 more degrees before I would start my time, but it's already started it. So again, I gotta think this out a little bit, but you get my drift. All right, I let it go a couple minutes longer than I meant. I wanted to check it at 20, but we're close enough. And we are 117. So on both sides of the steak. So again, it's really consistent with its temp. It's still below my 130 mark, but now you know. All right, we've been another few minutes. I just want to show you we're at 31 minutes. And just so you'll know, I've already checked it a while ago. It's 122, so it's still low. And I mean, it's consistent, as I said, but low, and very consistent though. I'm kind of shocked at how equal the temperature is on both sides of that steak, which I'll show you is still the same place it was. So I got to kind of think of how you would do this. You're going to have to add some time, is my point, because you're not at the temp within 30 minutes, and it's already told you to add the food. So one of the main things I got to do is fix that my Jelly 007 over there. I noticed it had fell down, but I'm fixing to do that, and we're going to give it whatever time it takes to get to 130. So see y'all in a minute. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I just checked it. It's not there, but I'll show you where it is, and I'm not going to bring you back again until it is. It's at 125 at 41 minutes. Again, fairly consistent on both sides of the steak. But I'll bring you back when it's at 130, or let me say this. If at an hour it's not, I'm going to adjust my temps to get it to 130. So see y'all whenever I figure that out. Okay, so here's where we are. I did just check it, and it's really close. As a matter of fact, it's close enough, I'm probably going to leave it. You know your what you require more than I. It's 127. I actually saw 128 just a second ago. So 127 and 127 on both sides of the steak. Now that is the most impressive part to me, that it is consistent and it's not a circulator. And I got this out to show you what a circulator is. This is, if you've heard of an ANOVA, and I know a lot of people have, and they probably don't want to see this part, but if you've heard of an ANOVA sous vide, and I mean, there's others on the market. I'm not sponsored by anybody, anything, anywhere, but this is the one I have. Now, it circulates with a pump in the bottom in some type of container. You do exactly what we're doing here, and I'll tell you, it stays pretty close. Now, and it gets it to temp fairly fast. There's different models that do better than others, blah, blah, blah. But if you're going to do this a lot, my opinion, maybe you could try it, and I said this before, I would test it with this type device. But if you're going to do it a lot, I would get a circulator. They do a little bit better. But honestly, it's not bad right here, although it told me to add the food an hour ago. I don't understand that, or actually about, 45 minutes ago. But it's been an hour, and we are, we'll see if I can get that 128 again. Evidently not. But anyhow, 127. So we're 3 degrees away from what I'm calling for. Well, I'm not going to adjust these temps for 3 degrees because I'm going to leave it in there now that it's at that point for 2 more hours. I usually cook mine depending on what I'm using, but once it hits 130, say an hour, at least an hour and a half. A lot of times 2 hours, and I'm telling you a lot of stuff that a lot of people are not going to want to know, and but I'm going to tell it anyhow. And I think that is a good thing to do. If you're in a big hurry, you don't want to be doing sous vide. That's straight up. I mean, you got to sear it once we're done with this too, and I'll try and show you a little bit of that part. This is just to show you how this acts as a sous vide device. And I'm using my glass lid just so I can kind of see better, but you don't have to have one of those. I would feel positive you could put that down and maybe slide it in the middle, whatever. I don't really know what the manual says. In fact, I'll try and find that and see exactly how they say to do it. But I like a glass lid so I can see what's going on. For the record, I've kind of thrown this idea to the side. I'm not going to do the second steak tonight. It's fine where it is. I'll cook it tomorrow night, but I don't want to change those temps by dropping this cold steak in. So now you know. I found the manual for this particular device, and I did do something a little bit different than they instruct in their Sous Vide 101. If you see right there, it says use 12 cups of room temperature water. Well, I did use room temperature water, but I've got more like 20 cups, and that's with the steak in there. So maybe I've got 18, 19 cups. So you use that with a grain of salt if you think that might have had a big effect. But we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. We're still 128, which again, I'm good with. I used to cook my steaks at 128. I kind of went to 130 just for an even number. So again, 128, hour and a half. The only thing I've found by reading the instructions, and they say 2 steaks. That's the recipe for 2 steaks they have. In fact, I'll show it to you. Here's what they recommend. In fact, you can do a screenshot on all of that maybe and read it all if you want to. So there you go. Be back. All right, we're at the 2 hour mark. So I wanted to at least look at the temp. And it is still, well, I saw 129. I'll take that, y'all. 129 is good. And it's close enough to my 130. Like I said, I used to do them at 128. So At 2 hours, we're 129. Now you know. All right, as you can see, we're at the 3 hour mark, and you know what? I will for the record, I'll take a temp read before we move this steak, and it is 129, 129. We're 1 degree away. I'm good with that. And but again, you could adjust that a little bit if you wanted to, but I don't know how you get closer, much closer than that. So here's what it looks like when you pull them out, just so you'll know. And I'm probably going to make a little water mess, but I always do. A lot of people do stuff with that right there. I don't, rarely, in fact, never. But you can see it's kind of grayish. I'm going to put it right here. Open that up with some scissors here in a second, and I've got my skillet going outside. I use a black iron skillet to sear in, but you know, you could even use, if you've got a Ninja grill, especially that new one, and I got it. If I had thought about it, I would have set up that way, but I didn't. The new one's got the griddle on it that you could sear in real well. In fact, I may try that soon. But tonight, I'm doing it in the skillet that I normally do it in, and sometimes I use a torch. But I'll open it up and let you see what it looks like before I sear it, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So hang on. All right, I'm just going to show the whole thing, and then just in case you don't know, it's simple, and you may already know this, and you probably maybe don't want to see it. But if you don't, fast forward to whatever part you do. All right, there's what it looks like. They're not the prettiest things when you first pull them out. They don't look that good. But what you want to do is kind of dry them off a little bit, and I usually put salt, and that got a little more water on that plate than I meant for it to have. So I'm going to dry that off. I'm going to set the plate right there. I mean the steak, but that way you can see it almost looks, well, you see what it looks like. It has no, it's not very desirable looking, but that's what sous vide is about. And if you've never done it, you don't know. So I wanted you to see it. Now there's the things that a lot of people use for, say, a sauce of some kind, and I'm not going to get into that tonight for sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this in paper towel. I'm going to take some paper towels. I got to find them. I'm going to dry that off, kind of wrap it. Then we're going to salt it, and I'm going to go outside and sear it because it makes some smoke a little bit. So be back. Now, I want to show you how real I get. I couldn't find the traditional napkins, but shop towels, they work real well. You'd be surprised. I use them quite often. But what we're going to do right here is I'm going to take some of my flake salt, and this is a little early for flake. I probably could have used this. It doesn't matter. Just put a little salt on it. That's all you're doing is trying to draw out some moisture, get it a little bit, dry. That's just what I do. You don't have to even put salt on it. You may not want salt, but I do. And I'm going to take this outside and sear it in my skillet with a little bit of what I'm using tonight is grapeseed oil. Okay, so here is the steak, and I decided to bring y'all outside with me so you can kind of see exactly, what I do. And in case you've never done it, and if you've already done this, you know how to do it, you don't have to watch, fast forward. I got to get this to stand right here where I got room to do what I'm doing. And tonight I'm using grapeseed oil because I didn't have any avocado, but oil is really all that matters. And I didn't put a lot, you can see. In fact, that skillet's fairly warm, but you can see what I got in there. I gotta set it back down because that handle's hot and I don't have a glove on. Here's what I got right now, 350. And let's see if you can see what I'm talking about 360. So I'm gonna raise it because I'd like it to be about 400 or 450 or so. And I'm gonna let it get there. And it doesn't matter if your steak gets a little cool. You've already taken it to the temp you want it to be internal. That's what sous vide's about. You're looking for your internal temp. I'm not saying let it sit out and get cold. I'm just saying, it's already at the temp you kind of want. And now, all you're going to do is brown it. Now, I did run out of there without even a fork. So while that gets a little bit warmer, I'm going to turn that heat up just a little bit. I'm going to go get a fork. All right, let's see what we're at the temp. Well, we're well, I hope you can see that, 445. That is, I'm seeing 430, 458. That's perfect. And there it goes. I'm going to take one of my shop towels that I use a lot for my napkins. I'm just going to dry that off. Although there's nothing wrong with that. It's at 130, same thing your steak is. That I just want to clean it off a little bit. And I'm going to kind of press it a little bit maybe. Make sure it's seated real well where it will sear and get the caramelization, or whatever you want to call it. There's another word for it. I don't remember what it is. But you want to get that on there. That's my point. That it's coming. I'm drawing a blank on it. It's anyhow. You want it to be brown. You want to get that seared mark all the way around, and you really want to do it a little faster than I just did. But 450 is what I usually go for. And it's the Maillard effect. That's what you're looking for. That's what it does. It's something called the Maillard effect, and it's to do with the browning of the meat, and it gives it a flavor. It caramelizes it, and big terms and all this stuff, but you're cooking a steak. It's not that big of a deal. So we're going to see what this one looks like after about this amount of time, and this is real time right here. It's hot, and that's pretty close to looking like what I want right there. You do want to press it. You want it to be, you know, flat on that cast iron. And this might add some time to the video, but it's, you know, just fast forward again if you need to. But this will give you an idea of exactly what to expect when you sous vide a steak. In fact, another thing you might do is move it around on the skillet a little bit to get off the part that the steak cools off. You kind of scoot it around and then take a look at it. That's it. In fact, there's what I want right there. And we're going to do that to the other side. And you can do it to the edges, but I'm not going that far tonight. I'm not in, and I'm not trying to. This is not a restaurant. I'm just eating it myself. But when you have a skillet this size, you can kind of use the areas that haven't been. If you hear when I move it, it sizzles again because it, you know, that part of the skillet hasn't been cooled down by the steak. And you may know all this, but we're pretty close to putting that on a plate and eating it. Let's see what it looks like on that side. Yeah, we're there. Yep. And grapeseed oil seems to work really, real well. But there's a lot of things that do, but we're done. So, I'm going to slide that over here and turn that fire off. You can see about what I had on that skillet, which is a decent amount. I always turn my gas tank off because I don't like it leaking down. But right there is one of the best steaks, I promise you, that you will ever eat. And it's like that every single time. I'm gonna go in there where I can cut it open and you can see it. So, all right, here is the final product, and this is what sous vide does. If you ask me, it is an excellent way to cook a steak. And this is what they kind of advertise, or the selling point on sous vide is edge to edge perfection. And that is what it does. It really is. And I don't think you'll find a better way. It's time consuming, it's all of that, but I just don't think you'll find a better way to cook a steak. Everything about it works. And it just works. Anyhow. Hey, it did okay. I'm not complaining by any means. I'm not sure if I'm in the frame, but my point is, the Ninja did okay. I mean, it was a couple of degrees off, but that's not that big a deal. It's easy to fix. It took it, well, you saw it. You know exactly what to do and what to think of it. And if you want to try sous vide, there's absolutely no reason not to with this. Now, if I was going to do it a lot, I'd use my Nova. I mean, I would recommend getting one, but I'll say this, that did all right. There's no doubt, especially to try it and maybe even every time. I ain't got to taste that steak to tell you that's really good, because it is, I promise. And you can tell by looking. I know if I don't, somebody will light me up. That right there, you tell me. You can tell by looking. That's a filet mignon, and filet mignons are never not good. So, and that one's no different. Y'all come back to see me. Try it. I think there's no reason not to. Take into consideration everything you saw here. And I think you'll be impressed. Man, that's good. Bye. All right, so after thinking about it, I wanted to just make sure. So I'm going to do a little add-on video here where I do the 12 cups that Ninja suggested. I'm also using a different device. This was not my smart one. This is the other one I bought, identical. But just to make sure it's not something to do with the device, we're starting out with, I hope you can see that, 62-degree waters, which is 1 degree below what we started with this one. Using the same thing again in the manual you can look back on. So I've got it turned on. I'm going to take it down to sous vide. I've got it set for 130. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to 6 hours. And I'm going to hit start. It is preheating, and I'll even put the lid on during the preheat, which I may not have on the last one. I'm not positive, but you can look back on the video. And we'll see how long it takes. Oh, yeah. Also, I got to start this. So there's a timer. We're up and running. Be back. And there it goes at 4 minutes. And honestly, I think that's what it does. I think it's more like time than it is temp. Because I imagine it is probably, well, it's 90 degrees. So the lid and the 12 cups may have helped a little bit. I think we were like 86 last time. But as it says, add food. That's what I'm going to do. And by the way, well, I should have showed you before I put that steak in. But if you look, you'll see that's about 13 cups right now with this steak in there. And I'm going to make that stay down just a minute. But we're just going to do the same thing, just nowhere near as drawn out. Whoops. I'm just going to take temps along the way. All right, I did miss my 20-minute mark, but let's see what it is. Right now, it is 121, 122, and that is on both sides of the steak. So maybe that 12-cup thing does mean something, because I don't think it was that in the other video, but we'll be back. All right, let's do the 30-minute read right quick. Just this simple, right quick. 124 on that side, 124 on that side. Consistent again. 6 degrees low, but consistent. Okay, so the 1 hour mark, which I guess means something. That they told you to add your food a long time ago, and you saw what the temps are. And I'm not sure I am. I just like mine to be at the temp I will accept for an hour and a half to 2 hours. All right, there's where we are at 1 hour, 127. I'll accept that. And most people will, I think, if you're looking for 130. Now, I'm not saying that's absolutely perfect, but you saw the other tests. So 127, 128, take my word, this is the third one I've eaten this week, and I'm really suffering by eating these USDA Prime filet mignons, and they are absolutely excellent. But it's not at the temp, so maybe you're going to have to add some time, add a little temp here. Maybe go to 135 if you're looking for 130. Anyhow, y'all have seen it. All I think I need to show, I'm fixing to cook that for 2 hours. I'll leave it in there at that temp for 2 hours, and I'm going to eat this one too. Bye. Hey, I forgot. Bye. I love y'all. Y'all come back to see me. I'm always trying to figure out something or trying to help y'all in some way or another, and I hope I help, but bye.